Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Andy Birmingham, and I am with Fiddle Inventory Management Software. And I have the pleasure today to be able to speak with a colleague, a friend, and a true professional who has had a wealth of experience, over 20 years of experience with the snack food industry. Please help me welcome the founder and CEO of Peanut Crunch, Juan Salinas. Juan, how are you doing?
Hi, Andy. How are you? It's a pleasure being here,
good.
and thank you for the invite to your podcast.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you jumping on with me. And I know, Juan, that, we were talking right before we started this, and it's been, there have definitely been some ups and downs. It sounds like in your path and where you've become as a brand now. And I know that there's a lot that those who are listening to this broadcast can learn from you. Maybe some things that maybe some missteps, but also some successes. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat, and we're going to ask you some of those questions to help those CPG brands who are young, smaller size, but they're trying to grow, trying to get to market. So my first question to you, Juan, is, what are some of those hard lessons that you have learned where maybe it was a misstep or something that you've taken to heart?
Sure. I could share a couple of experiences I had that might be helpful. And one of them you're very familiar with, because I think, when you first start your company, you have to have your product made. Basically, it has to be available so that when you sell it and they place an order for you, you got to have a physical product that you're selling, unless you're selling a service, in which case, you got to also have whatever service you have ready to be given to a customer. In my case, I make a snack, and the snack has to be manufactured by machines.
Yeah.
And to do that, so the first step was for me to try to find a manufacturer that will make my product. And I have a very unique formula and product, so it wasn't easy from the beginning to find someone that would be able to make it. But in terms of the lessons learned, is like find that manufacturer, make sure that you're happy with them. You have a contract with them that specifically states what they're supposed to do for you. And you state exactly what quality measurements also you want them to carry, because quality is everything. Once the consumer receive it, you're basically being judged on your quality of your product. And my experience was that I had very bad luck, maybe, or just lack of experience. And I started with, a couple of manufacturers that I did not have contracts with. It was more a word of mouth. And they ended up basically dumping me. After a few runs,
Sure.
For different reasons. In my case was because I had an allergen in one of my ingredients, and they thought they could handle it, but at the end, they couldn't.
Yeah.
So it was easy for them just to tell me, okay,
yeah,
sorry, but we can't make your stuff here. If I had a contract, I might have been able to have a little more power from my end to say, okay, you know what, based on the contract, give me 6 months to try to find another place, or renegotiate somehow so that I can continue to supply my product to the customer. But that was not the case. So that was a very hard lesson for me to learn. And it's something that, at the very beginning, make sure that, however you make your product, it's, you're well set, you're ready to go. Because once your sales starts coming in, you can't stop.
Yeah.
And you don't want to tell anybody that you don't have product.
Right.
Your credibility goes down the drain, and they figure, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I pass,
Right.
So that's one. And the other one I would say, in terms of sales and marketing, right? Those are the two things that you need in order to really grow your brand.
Sure.
It's what's going to get the name of your product out there that you so hardly, sweat and all the time that you created this idea. And now you have a product. Now you have to put it in front of buyers. And I always thought that it was just good enough for me to do it. It's like I know a little bit of sales, and
right. I can do
this.
Around
with social media, and in fact, it's a good beginning. You can start doing some of that on your own at the beginning, but then it will become very overwhelming very fast. Mm-hmm. When you're into a few stores and they started calling you about whatever issues, support. You have to go into the stores, make sure that the product is well merchandised on the shelves, that it's looking good, that they had inventory, follow-ups. This gets really busy really quick. And so, my takeaway from that is like, I lost a lot of potential business because I couldn't handle it on my own. And I thought I could. And I realized I wasn't the best salesman either. So a lot of no's. I think, what I have now is a small team, still a very small team, a sales team, someone that I actually don't hire because I still don't have, all that money to be able to hire a VP of sales. But I could do a contract with an external VP of sales. This is someone that maybe has 5 or 6 brands that he's managing, and he's acting as your VP of sales, but he's not in your payroll. Instead, you pay him a monthly fee like a contractor does. Yeah. And the same with marketing. It's very time consuming to do all the social media and to do, answer every text, every comment or DMs. You want to bring somebody in that can help you with all that stuff while you concentrate on some of the bigger challenges that you have.
I think that's an excellent point, because a lot of these brands, right, as they're entrepreneurs, they're dreamers, they're visionaries. They want to be the trailblazer. And in that same mindset, sometimes we do get caught up, right? Like, we can do everything. We've gotten this far. Let's just keep going. And, we have limited resources. So this is something we're just going to take on. But I love that point that you make, that, we have to be able to accept that, there's maybe better things that we can focus on with our time, and we can outsource some of these other facets of the business to be successful. Right. So that's an excellent point. I appreciate that. And, Juan, I have to back up. There's something, behind you there. And I would love you to talk about, before I ask you the next question, can you tell the audience a little bit about P-Nuff Crunch, and like, what do you guys even do? What are you all about?
Yeah. So, well, the background behind P-Nuff Crunch, as you mentioned earlier, Andy, I have about 20 plus years of experience working in the snack industry. I used to work for some of the largest CPG food companies in the world, based here in the United States. And what I used to do, I used to create new products for them, and then I will develop into actual physical products that we will launch. So I sort of created a little bit of a specialization on creating innovative products. One of the things that always bothered me is that, we always created to make products taste really good. And by far, that's the most important thing, even today. Right. Products got to taste good. Otherwise, people will not come back and buy it. But my problem that I had is that a lot of these products that we were creating didn't have any real good nutrition behind it. It was just tasting good, but it was just full of chemicals and, fat and sugar, etc. So the stuff that I couldn't even eat myself, and I like to be very active. And I was even actually a bodybuilder professional at some point in my life, not too long ago. I still practice a lot of working out, and I do some endurance races still.
Nice.
But I always was looking for, food and snacks that I could have that would actually help me with the performance in all these sports. And I couldn't find anything, So that gave me the idea to create this product, this P-Nuff Crunch, which is a puff, an extruded puff that is made from navy beans, brown rice, and peanuts. And when you combine all these 3 ingredients, it provides what we call a complete protein profile, which is a plant-based protein, but it has all the elements, all the amino acids that are necessary to build muscle, and to recover muscle after exercise. So that's why we're so different than any other snack, even other so-called healthy snacks. In addition to that, I had done a lot of research with some of these companies that I used to work with about what some of the needs of the athletes in terms of energy. So we know carbohydrates provide energy to the athlete, but not every carbohydrate is made the same. So what I wanted to do is create a product that had the right set of carbohydrates to give you the energy, but not to elevate your insulin, which eventually will create fat and all that. So that's a couple of the elements that my product has. It's called Peanut Crunch. It tastes delicious. Tastes like peanut and peanut butter. And
I can attest. Yes.
Yeah, we have 3 flavors, and you can buy it easily in our website at peanut.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I should have started out with that way, but hey, appreciate you giving a little intro, a little background about your company. So let's kind of jump back in with another question here. So if I'm a young brand and I'm trying to get to market, but I'm struggling because again, I lack some resources, some, budget, financially strapped. What are some suggestions you would give to somebody who needs to try to get to market and do so successfully?
Yeah. And I wish I knew this when I first started, because I think I went about it the wrong way. Although I don't think there's a wrong way. There's probably always a better way. Sure. I wish I would have started only online. And let me explain this, because the way I started is the traditional way. I went, to retail stores around my area, and I just walked in and tried to sell my product to all these big chain supermarkets. And most of the reaction that I was getting is like, okay, who are you? Show me some data. Like, right. Where are you being sold? How much money are you making? Like, what's the turnover of your product at another store? I was like, well, you're the first store. Well, I don't have any data. And they're like, man, come back when you have something. That's pretty much, it's sort of like the chicken and the egg, because it's like, they want to know that they're going to put a product into their shelves that is going to sell. And for that, they need data. But in order for me to build that data, I need some of these people to say, okay, bring it in. So, right. Online is different. Online, you have your own space that you could just get in. You get into Amazon, you can have your own website. You could create all the marketing and beautify it the way you want it. And you can target the people that you want to target specifically, Right. And there are tools to do that, which, we won't go into this, but through social media, through, different email campaigns, you can actually start to target that group that you feel is the right target for you, and the niche that you feel is the right niche for you. It's the people that are active, or it's the kids, or it's the moms. And actually helps you develop a little bit of strategy to understand better your consumer. Mm-hmm. So if you thought that, this product is going to be great for athletes, and I'm starting to target athletes, and I'm starting to see like, these guys, they're not getting it. Maybe they feel the protein level is too low. Maybe it's just too dry for them or too wet for them, right. But I'm seeing this other group of vegans really enjoying this stuff and really, basically sharing it with others. It's like, maybe my niche is not the hardcore athlete. Maybe my niche is the vegan, Yeah. And so this is just an example. This is not what happened. Right. This is an example that, it helps you understand better who your target is, so that when you go out there actually to a retail store, you have more data that you built from the online business. And you could say, I have data that shows that, these products were liked by this type of people, millennials, and, they're going to be looking to buy this product instead of these other products. And so you have a very story to tell the buyer at a retail store with some numbers behind it. And then that will make him a little more comfortable to bring it into the store. So it's more economical as well to do.
Yeah, because, sure.
Getting into shelves, into some of the stores is very expensive.
Oh yeah.
And you have to keep going back to the stores, making sure that the inventory is there, making sure that the product is looking good on the shelf. that all takes a lot of time and resources that you don't have to spend when you're selling online.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. And yeah, definitely with the unfortunate, COVID situation, but it really has pushed us forward in terms of e-commerce and social platforms, right? So I love that point, because really that is something that we need to embrace if we haven't already in terms of our sales channels. And to your point, if you're young, you have limited resources, I mean, what a great way to start, and to really kind of pivot and fit that demographic. What's the group that's going to gravitate to your product, to your brand, right? So exactly. That's a great insight. And it kind of segues into my final question for you is, with brands that are trying to scale, so they're at market and they're small, but they're trying to scale. They're trying to get maybe into more e-commerce places or into retail, brick and mortar or distributors. Okay. Like any other tips or thoughts, advice to be able to then scale up your brand?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that worked for me. It's and I don't know, it will work for every brand, but I will always tell people on new brands, like, don't be afraid of, international markets. So, and I'll tell you a story, because 2 years ago, our biggest sales numbers and growth was over in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
And with minimal effort, which completely surprised me. I was like, somebody from the Middle East said, hey, I think it'd probably be great to be sold over there. We are an exporter company. We'll take your product and we'll basically partner with a distributor over there and have it distributed to the Middle East. I said, that's easy enough. If it fails, no big deal. I'm here in the US. This is my main market, whatever. And what do you know that, we get orders in the truckloads from the Middle East for our product because they love this stuff over there. And we don't invest much money into anything, into marketing. We don't invest into, sales or anything. It's just it's already kind of built in the price that we give them. And they just go on and they know what to do in those countries, much better than what I will know what to do.
Right.
So say, don't be afraid of, those international markets. A lot of these countries really look up to products that are made in the USA. So, having that label on your product is very important. Have the little flag of United States, made in USA. It's huge. It should definitely be part of your packaging design. And, try to promote that to be able to sell internationally. And you could do that through different trade shows. There's a lot of food trade shows, in my case, where you can go and meet buyers from international markets that are coming here to the US specifically looking for products that are innovative, and made in the USA. That's awesome. So that's one way of expanding the channels.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it, kind of going back to the last point, right? Like in the world that we're living in, right, where it's so much easier to be able to cross those channels, to be able to go international. And I just never considered that. That's true. I could see maybe there's some hesitancy there for some young CPG brands of going international. This is where we are. We make it in the US, but those could be great opportunities for them. So that's an excellent point. So listen, Juan, it has been so good to talk with you today. I appreciate your advice and insights. Again, with over 20 years of experience that you bring to the table. And, it's never easy for any of us, right? There's been ups and downs in your journey, but, to where you are today and seeing the success that you're having. And I didn't even mention you were on Shark Tank with Mark Cuban and all that. And, the success that you have had over time shows your resilience and your grit. And that's really what it's all about for these young brands, is being persistent, being innovative, and being that trailblazer. So I appreciate you being on with me today. Great talking with you. And appreciate all of you watching today. And again, check out P-Nuff Crunch and check out the awesome product that they're making there. Also, check out Fiddle, inventory management software. If you have any needs to better manage your inventory, track it, and have insight, check us out at fiddle.io. Until next time, thanks, everyone.